Hi, boys and girls. I am Miss Fosdick's cat. My name is Kitty, and I'm here to talk to you about finding percent of a number. Miss Fosdick's a little busy shopping right now, but she left me two situations to discuss with you as far as applying percents in the real world. Okay, so in this next unit, we're going to be finding the percent of a number. And this is used a lot in the real world. I want you to take a look at this receipt from when her and her mom went out to dinner. If you notice, at the bottom of the receipt is a total, $31.70. That's the total cost of the bill. You'll also see tax was included in there as well. When you go out to eat, you usually tip or leave gratuity for the waiter or waitress. We'll talk about more in class what that means, but it's usually a percentage of your total cost of the bill. So, we use an equation here to solve for that percent. I want to know what is 20% of my total cost of the bill. Usually you tip about 20%. So we're going to look at this setup here. We have two fractions that are proportional to each other. The total cost of the bill goes in the denominator. So $31.70. I want to tip my waitress 20%. The percent is always out of 100. Now that leaves a blank space here. We're going to use the word D, or the letter D, to stand for something that we don't know. In math, we call this the unknown. I don't know what 20% of the total cost of my bill might be, but I'm going to apply it to the equation to solve. This is how we would solve the equation. I like to call it the palm tree method, and I'll explain why. What we're going to do is we're going to multiply diagonally. So I'm going to multiply these two terms, then I'm going to multiply these two terms. And then from here, we're going to solve. I'm going to rewrite my equal sign. So it begins to look like a palm tree. Okay. I'm going to multiply 100 times D. Because we don't know what D stands for, I'm going to write 100 and the letter D. When a number and a variable are next to each other, it's assumed that it's multiplication. So 100 times D, and then on this side, I'm going to do 31.70 times 20. And I'm going to get my calculator out so I can do those calculations. 31.70 times 20, which gives me 634. Then the next step is I want to find out what D is equal to. In order for me to find D, I'm going to divide both sides by 100. And simplify. My 100s cancel, so I'm left with D is equal to 634 divided by 100, which equals $6.34. that means that I'm going to leave the waitress an additional $6.34 because 20% of my total bill is $6.34. I know this might be a little confusing at first, but I just want to get you a little bit of practice before we get started on it in class. Let's look at another example. Some of you like to shop at DSW, or maybe your parents like to shop at DSW. There was a pair of shoes at DSW that were $49.94. I'm going to set up my two fractions. $49.94 represents my total cost. Now, if you notice that my cost is in purple, so that means it's 30% off. So I'm going to put the percent over 100. Again, D represents my discount of how much I'm actually saving. I'm going to multiply across. So I'm going to multiply 100 times D and $49.94 times 30. A 100 times D is just 100D. Which is equal to $49.94 times 30. Which equals 1,498.2. Then my last step, I'm going to divide both sides by 100 to cancel out D. So D, or my discount, which represents how much I'm saving, is about $14.98. There are a few other ways to calculate your discount and your gratuity. But next year in 7th grade, we're going to be applying this even more. So I want to introduce you to the concept now, so next year you're a little bit better prepared. Now, I want you to get out your graphic organizer. In my example of my graphic organizer, it says you are out to dinner. The total cost of the bill is $45 and you want to tip 20%. So I set up my equation. $45 represents the total cost of the bill and 20% is how much I'm leaving for tip over 100. So again, I'm going to multiply 10 times D, or excuse me, 100 times D and 45 times 20. A 100 times D is 100 D, which is equal to 45 times 20. And I'm going to write it out just so I know where I got my work from. I'm going to rewrite 100D which is equal to 45 times 20, which equals 900. Then in my last step, I'm going to divide both sides by 100. 100 divided by 100 is just 1. So they cancel out. And I'm left with D equals 900 divided by 100 is 9. In this case, $9. So that means I would leave the waiter or waitress an additional $9 for tip. Okay, we are going to talk more about this in class tomorrow. This is just to kind of help you get you started for class. If you need to rewind and watch some of the video, you might need to, just so that you're a little bit better prepared for class. All right, boys and girls, I am going to go play with my kitty toys and not do math anymore. All right, have a great night. Math is just purr.